In 2020, we have witnessed firsthand more than ever before the importance of virtual connection. At BU Madrid, we have connected with BU Madrid alumni of all ages located all over the world via our BU Madrid Study Abroad Alumni Facebook group. This community that we have created is another way to foster those relationships that, because of the pandemic, may have suffered or been placed on the back burner. For this year's International Education Week, we would like to share this video filled with our alumni's memories, which can be in the shape or form of a picture, a short caption, a story, or whatever they see fit. Although we don't have students due to the pandemic, this year's initiative can be a walk down memory lane to reflect upon the great times our alumni, staff, and faculty have enjoyed over the years. This way, we can continue to build our community and nurture those relationships with alumni. One day in February, my friend and I decided to catch a bus to Segovia. The day was spent hiking all through the streets, and as night fell, we decided to walk into the mountains that frame the city. In the distance, we saw a fire, and as we approached, we were welcomed by a group of local college students. Warmed by the fire, we sat and watched the lights come up all over the calles below. We stayed for hours, sharing stories and jokes, and it was such a beautiful, spontaneous experience that I will never forget. Asking me to pick my favorite memory from my time abroad is impossible. The entire time I was there was all one big memory, and it has changed my life for the better. What comes to my mind every time I think of this semester is how happy I was. I was constantly surrounded by some of the best people I've met, and we all created so many memories. Even though I didn't meet my best friend while I was in Madrid, everyone who was there with me will always have a special place in my heart. I went to so many amazing places. But when I go back and look at pictures or think back to those times, I mostly remember the people I was with and how traveling with them made it that much better. Whether it was somewhere in Spain or a brand new country, I had the best time because I was always with people who could make the best of even the worst situations. Even just sitting in class was always a fun time because I always had people around me who made the most out of every situation. If I could go back and redo this semester, the only thing I would change is journaling the whole thing, so I can have these memories for the rest of my life. I completely fell in love with Toledo, and this was my second time there, and I think the last trip I took out of Madrid. I got to see all the sights I missed the first time and even got to see the beginning of a wedding. This was the fin de curso party, which was one of my favorite moments and memories of my time in Madrid. The paella, the conversations, and the goodbyes were so special to us all. One of my favorite Madrid memories, visiting Preta the cat at Libros para un Mundo Mejor en Malasaña. She is so sweet and cuddly and makes me feel better when I miss my cat in Boston. This picture is from my first night out in Madrid. Any nervousness that I had on the flight over completely melted away. I was in a beautiful city with wonderful new friends, ready to embark on the journey of a lifetime. I remember we were handed a questionnaire on the flight to Spain to see how much we knew about Spain. Not so much the history, but current events and expressions. It turns out I didn't know much and was extra surprised when we got to Barcelona and I realized I didn't understand the billboards. During those first few days before we got to Madrid, we visited Girona and Cuenca as well, which gave us a wonderful opportunity to get to know each other. It's hard to choose one memory from all those that I cherish, but the two that I do want to highlight are the paella picnic in November and our final gathering at El Bocadito before heading home. My fondest memories of that semester were when we were all together. I learned so much. This is a view of Alicante. I had so much fun here, just trying different food, enjoying the beach, and seeing the town. We ran into friends from the program that same weekend and were so glad to hang out with them. I just remember being by the water a lot and feeling very at peace. I studied abroad in Madrid the entirety of my junior year, fall 2013 to spring 2014, and I am forever grateful that I did. Spanish was my second major as an undergrad, and it only made sense to experience the Spanish culture fully. I opted to live with a young family with young kids, as I knew my Spanish would grow exponentially speaking with kids. They love to talk and are quick to correct, and my host family. There was always a specific topic to dissect at dinner, a recommended book to read, and a movie to watch on a weeknight. We would go to Navacerrada on some weekends for fresh air and new scenery. Hanging out with my host family made my experience that much more complete and interesting. Another particular memory was being fortunate enough to volunteer with a program called Te Oigo, Allies in English. I was paired with an active young girl. We baked bread, went on walks, and translated television shows. Our time lasted for only the first semester, but it made my time in Madrid much more memorable.
This summer, I studied abroad in Madrid, and it was an experience like no other. Before embarking on this journey, I had so many fears. Whether it was the fact that I only had 7 months of practice with this language and couldn't tell the difference between izquierda and derecha, left and right. Or maybe that I was scared to live with the host family and scared of culture shock. I was nervous I'd be that one person who wouldn't like her study abroad experience. But I ended up loving it. Every challenge. And as I reflect on this journey, I realize I grew so much in such a short amount of time. But to say my experience was amazing or great is an understatement to my time there. Each day was a new adventure, each ola an opportunity to learn something new, and every moment felt like I was living life to its fullest. There was no thinking about next year or a few months down the line, because for the first time in my life, I was present, and I learned to love the unknown. I learned to let go of my insecurities of making mistakes, and I turned those fears into opportunities to learn and grow. From the constant sunsets, to the meetups in Seoul, to grabbing helado nearly every day, I soon learned to make Madrid my home away from home. I learned the beauty of another language, and that communication is so important. It's a way of connecting, and that's a wonderful thing. And maybe that's why I love the sunsets, because it didn't matter what your native language was or where you're at in the world, but it's a beauty we can all appreciate together. I love the culture, from the siestas to late lunches, the unforgettable nights out, and the rooftop terraces. But the moment I let go of my expectations, of what I wanted this experience to be, and I just learned to accept it for what it was when I appreciated it even more. Time. My time in Madrid was limited, and I only had so many hours and days in this country. But one thing you can't get back is the time you spend there and whom you choose to spend it with. I love the hour-long lunches where I talked to my host family, and it felt as if time ceased to exist. But I was also here to learn. Not only did I learn in the classroom, but the city became my classroom. The fears that I had in the beginning turned into accomplishments. And Madrid became a city that pushed me to be who I am today. It challenged me for the better, bringing out different perspectives. And by the time it was my moment to say goodbye, I realized that the city I was so nervous to come to, I was really scared to leave. But I left with a feeling that I'd always be welcome back. And as I packed my bags and said my goodbyes, I realized that it wasn't a goodbye, it was an hasta luego.